Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes complex stuff and, distills it into these surprising insights, especially for you, our curious listener.
Always good to be here.
Today, we are diving deep into a really unique novel, Robert Albone's The Spirit Reader.
Yeah, definitely defies easy labels.
Totally. Our mission here is to unpack this amazing story. We're looking at truth, power, perception, all through this tale that somehow connects, like, corporate accounting with spiritual awakening, and very real-world issues, too.
It's quite the mix.
So imagine this. George Miller, he's an accountant, right? Been doing it for 20 years at a mining company. Pretty normal guy.
Not exactly your epic hero archetype.
Not at all. And his life just gets turned completely upside down by this one object he finds. And what if this thing let him see, well, not just the world, but the actual souls of people around him?
It's a heck of a starting point. And what I find fascinating is how the book immediately sets itself apart from, say, typical fantasy. There aren't these elaborate magic systems, It's just one artifact this crystal George literally stumbles upon in Rapid Creek. It feels almost accidental.
Yeah, grounded. And it's not like he's suddenly throwing fireballs or anything.
No, not at all.
This crystal lets him see people's spiritual auras. These vivid colors that show their deepest truths, hidden pain, secret intentions, that kind of thing.
Which raises a really important question right away. What are the limits here?
Good point.
The book makes it clear this gift, it only works for George. And it needs recharging, specifically on sacred Makuta lands. And crucially, it reveals truth. It doesn't grant him dominion over people.
Ah, so it's about wisdom, not power grabs.
Exactly. His whole journey becomes about using it responsibly, sometimes even refusing to use it, as a weapon.
Okay, so let's get specific. When
Yeah.
George first uses it, he sees his wife Ruby's aura.
Mm-hmm.
Deep red, pulsing, kind of writhing.
Yeah.
His son Jack is white, Emma yellow, George himself black. But when Ruby looks through it, nothing. Just misshaped, grayish shadows, no color. Why the
Right.
difference?
Well, the novel hints that maybe everyone's born with this ability, but most of us lose it. We get caught up in the material world.
Right.
The Makuta elders later suggest it's about keeping that sort of childlike openness to wonder. An ability George, despite being this analytical accountant, somehow still has.
So perception isn't just seeing, it's how you see. Interesting.
It implies that maybe a less jaded perspective is key.
Speaking of George's analytical mind,
Yeah.
this is where it gets really interesting for me. He's trying to rationalize this thing.
Of course he is. He's an accountant.
He's researching crystal optical effects, mass hallucination, trying to explain it away. But then he hears something, a radio interview with Elder Red Cloud from the Makuta tribe. What happens there?
This is a turning point. The Makuta, you see, have this whole cultural understanding of color. It's not just visual for them. Colors carry deep spiritual meaning. So red, that's lifeblood, sacrifice, new beginnings. Think east, sunrise. Black, which George saw in himself, represents mystery, spirituality, transformation. West, sunset. And importantly, unlike in some Western views, it's not evil.
Ah, so that reframes everything George saw initially. It's not necessarily bad, just different.
Exactly. It gives him a completely new lens. And then the elder on the radio warns about spirit readers.
Right, these chosen ones whose gift signals great change
Yeah.
and great danger. Talk about a midlife crisis landing in your lap.
Seriously. So George, still pretty skeptical but intrigued, he seeks out Elder Red Cloud and the other elders, Dancing Deer and Matotonka, and they identify the crystal. It's a spirit glass, they say, and it chose him.
Wow.
They offer to train him to interpret the subtle nuances in the auras because they say the crystal returned in a time of need when imbalances have become unbearable.
So it's bigger than just George.
Much bigger.
An accountant chosen to save a people. I mean, George protests, right? He must think they're crazy.
He does. But the elders argue he's perfect, precisely because he can bridge both worlds, commerce and spirit. He understands patterns, sees truths others miss.
That's quite a compliment, actually.
Yeah.
Especially maybe for someone like you, our listener, who also values getting knowledge quickly but thoroughly.
It suggests different kinds of intelligence are valuable, even essential together. He doesn't just see numbers, he starts to see the stories, the spirit behind them.
So George agrees. He starts learning, doing readings at the Makuta Festival. He learns to, what was the phrase? Let his spirit be his eyes.
Yeah, and he starts seeing these incredibly complex layers and auras, things that even the elders find remarkable.
And what's the immediate effect? Does it, like, fix everything?
Not exactly fixed, but the impact is immediate. The book shows him helping people find peace, heal old wounds, make better choices. He realizes the crystal isn't giving him new knowledge, it reveals knowledge you already carry.
Okay, so it's a catalyst for
Mhm.
self-awareness.
Precisely. It helps people see their own truth.
Then things go public. Big time. At the National Congress of American Indians Convention,
The scene with the reporter.
right, Linda Samuelson from the New York Times, he reads her aura and just lays it all out there. Hidden payments, secret affairs. The room goes silent.
Talk about radical transparency. It just shatters the facade.
It really shows the power of seeing that deep truth.
Yeah.
But also the danger, right? The responsibility.
Absolutely, because once you see it, you can't unsee it, and
Yeah.
that forces a reckoning, which leads to George's own choices.
Yeah, like with his wife Ruby's affair with Bradford, the lawyer. He knows, but he chooses not to, weaponize it against her.
A very deliberate choice. But then contrast that with his old boss, Evan Blackwell.
At the mining company, Sand and Stone, George confronts him about their environmental violations. He sees Evan's aura is this corrupted leadership blue, but there's still a gold core underneath.
A flicker of his true self, yeah. And Evan's reaction is huge.
He confesses everything. To the EPA, sacrifices his entire career, and he fires Bradford for being involved.
It's a massive moment of internal change, sparked by that revealed truth. It shows that even deep corruption isn't, maybe, irreversible.
Yeah, and it's not just Evan. George's wife, Ruby, she also changes.
Right. The sources emphasize her transformation, too. She realizes Bradford's charm was just hollow, performative.
So she goes back to nursing school, finds her own path.
Finds her own purpose, yeah. It shows the ripple effect. The crystal's influence spreads beyond just the person being read. It inspires courage, self-discovery.
But the stakes keep getting higher. George meets Governor Brown.
Ah, yes. The Tribal Efficiency Act.
Exactly. And George sees the governor's aura, revealing the hidden agenda. It's not about efficiency at all. It's a legal trick to dissolve the Makuta's tribal status, open their sacred lands for exploitation.
This puts George in a terrible bind, that moral burden again. Does he expose and destroy, or try to heal and build?
What does he do first?
His first instinct is to fight back by exposing it. He tips off Linda Samuelson, the reporter. Gives her details, pipeline routes, groundwater pollution, corporate donations, names like Blue Ridge Minerals, Western Extraction.
Using truth as a weapon, initially.
Kind of, yeah. But despite his efforts, it doesn't quite work. The Bureau of Indian Affairs still recommends consolidation.
And their reasoning is just chilling. Dismissing Makuta culture as administrative complexity, calling the people inventory to be managed.
Dehumanizing language, it's awful. And the elders. They tell George their desperate truth. They would rather join their ancestors than be forced off their sacred land.
Wow. So what's the ultimate cost of truth when you're up against that kind of power?
That becomes the burning question. Deputy Director Watkins suggests contacting Representative Chen, maybe for an emergency hearing.
Okay.
So they get to this congressional hearing, and George faces this choice again. Expose more political dirt, or reveal something deeper, more personal.
And he chooses the personal.
He does. He reveals Representative Chen has an inoperable brain tumor. He sees it in her aura, something she'd been dismissing as just stress.
Oh my God, what kind?
Glioblastoma multiforme stage 4. Very aggressive. Basically a death sentence.
That's devastating. But compassionate? How did that play out?
It's incredible. Chen, knowing her time is limited, uses her remaining months to fight for the Makuta. She lobbies Congress relentlessly.
Inspired by George's gift.
Directly inspired. And her fight leads to the Native Spiritual Heritage Protection Act. It secures permanent status, protections for the Makuta lands, even federal funding for spiritual research.
So revealing that personal, painful truth with compassion, it achieved what exposing the corruption couldn't.
It seems so. It transformed a personal tragedy into this huge legislative win, a completely unexpected path.
But truth still has its dangers. Bradford, the lawyer George, got fired.
Yeah, he's disgraced, jobless, full of hate. He finds George in a parking garage with a gun.
Tries to kill him.
Attempts to, yeah, out of sheer despair and rage. But Marotanka, the warrior elder, he intervenes.
The warrior watches.
And waits for the right moment. That's what he says. Bradford gets arrested. And this whole ordeal, plus something his daughter Emma says, makes George realize something crucial.
That's that?
His purpose isn't to be a warrior fighting battles. It's to be a healer. He decides then and there to use the crystal only for healing, not for destroying reputations, not as a weapon.
That's a major shift in how he sees his gift.
A huge evolution.
So with this focus on healing, how does the story broaden our understanding of truth? It brings in other perspectives, right?
Yeah.
Like Pastor Grace Harlow.
The Christian minister. She seeks George out, and he reveals this deeply hidden childhood trauma she experienced hiding in a church closet during her father's drinking episodes.
Wow.
And he shows her how that pain actually shaped her calling, her ministry. And instead of shattering her faith, it strengthens it.
So the crystal can deepen spiritual understanding even within established religions, or maybe challenging some rigid ideas.
Exactly. It shows these universal patterns of suffering, healing, purpose. Truth can reinforce faith, it seems, when seen holistically.
And then you have the opposite end of the spectrum almost. Dr. Eliza Thorne, the quantum physicist.
Right, from the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, she wants to scientifically test the crystal.
This is where it gets really mind-bending. Can science actually explain something like this?
That's the big question the book tackles. Dr. Thorne's instruments, they detect unusual quantum coherence patterns in the crystal.
Quantum coherence, like the particles acting together.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. Only when George is present.
Whoa.
So the scientists start throwing out these wild ideas. It's like a higher dimensional lens. They even talk about consciousness-matter interactions.
The idea that just thinking can affect reality.
Pretty much. Or that the crystal operates in more dimensions than we can perceive. It really pushes the known boundaries of physics.
And George's kids chime in too, right? Emma and Jack.
They do. Emma has this brilliant line about the scientists and the pastor just asking the same questions, just using different words.
Kids sometimes see things so clearly.
George notes their intuitive sides aren't, atrophied like they often are in adults. They're still open.
So what's the upshot of the science part?
Well, Dr. Thorne's preliminary report basically says the crystal operates on principles beyond our current understanding of physics. And she suggests maybe science has finally advanced enough to start measuring what spirituality has always known.
A convergence.
Yeah.
Ancient wisdom meets modern science.
That's the implication. Powerful stuff.
So fast forward 2 years from when he found the crystal. Where's George now?
He's fully embraced his role. He's Waniya Wanyanka, one who sees spirit or energy. He's even formally installed into the Makuta tribe through a Hunka ceremony. He's truly one of them now.
That's amazing. And what about the Makuta and their land?
This is where you see that full circle transformation, those former miners, including Mike, who was actually Bradford's brother. They're now working with the Makuta, building the new Makuta Interdisciplinary Research Complex. They're crew chiefs, laborers, finding purpose in developing, not extracting.
From exploitation to sustainable partnership.
Exactly. Driven by this new spiritual understanding of the land.
And George's personal life with Ruby.
Also transformed. Ruby finished nursing school. She's a licensed traveling nurse now. She asks George to take the kids full-time for 3 months while she goes to LA to pursue her own dreams.
And they're okay with that.
Yeah, they find this new kind of friendship, understanding, mutual respect for each other's journeys.
So for George, what's the final understanding of the crystal, his purpose?
It really crystallizes, pardon the pun, it's not about power, not about dominion. It's about healing, deep healing.
For others and himself.
Inseparable, he realizes. The crystal showed him his own darkness, too, which allowed him to face it. So his purpose becomes helping people see their own light, even when things seem darkest. He understands that healing others was inseparable from healing himself.
Wow. Okay, our deep dive into the Spirit Reader. It's been quite a journey. It really reminds you that some of the biggest mysteries are right here in our everyday lives, just waiting.
If we're willing to look with more than just our eyes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The story really pushes us to think about how we bridge those apes, rational, intuitive, science, spirit, and how we choose to handle the truths we uncover.
Yeah, and what really hits me is that idea of healing not just being personal, but systemic. For whole communities, maybe even for the way we interact with the planet.
Right.
This book, George's Journey,
Yeah.
it challenges us, you listening right now, to think about how we can maybe contribute to healing and balance in a world that feels pretty out of whack sometimes.
So maybe the final thought for you is this. What spirit, what deeper truth is your life showing you right now? And what will you choose to do with it?